Hey, welcome in. Glad you could join me for this edition of Urban Hunting. Today we have a special guest with us, Mr. Gary Mason, and he has Legends of the Outdoors Hall of Fame, and we're going to talk with him about it today and see what this event is all about. So Gary, how long have you been doing the Hall of Fame?
Well, Scott, we actually started the Hall of Fame in 2002. I looked around in 2001, computers and internet was just getting big, and I love baseball, love the Country Music Hall of Fame, and had a lot of country music artists that hunted and fished with me, but I couldn't find anything out in the outdoors that wasn't specific to one certain species: bass, big game, turkeys, whatever you might have. And one day I looked at my wife and I said, you know, there's not a Hall of Fame as a whole for the outdoors industry. And I said, somebody ought to do something about that. And she looked back at me in her innocence and said, well, so aren't you somebody? And so, you know, the Hall of Fame was born, and we come up with the name Legends of the Outdoors because these are true legends that goes into the Hall of Fame each and every year. And so this, since 2002, this is going to be our 14th year, I believe.
Yeah. You know, talking about the Hall of Fame, as you were saying, it's the top 1% of all of those people that are out there. I mean, even with any other Hall of Fame, you always wonder, well, why did that person get in? Most people know why that person got in.
That's right. You know, it doesn't take long for someone to look at our Hall of Fame members that's already in the Hall of Fame and those that are going in this year and realize that these are the top tier of the outdoorsmen in our country. And not just the hunters and fishermen, but we've got wildlife artists in there. We've got radio and television personalities and folks from all walks, lure makers, manufacturers, all walks of the outdoors industry of hunting and fishing. And these guys have put a lot of time in, and we're just tickled that they're in our Hall of Fame. And you know, the sad part about what we do, we're not going to get to everybody before they go on to God's great reward, but we do try to give roses to the living and acknowledge what those folks have done in order to allow us to follow in their footsteps in the industry.
You know, since I've been involved the last few years, it's just like making a living. It's amazing how many ways there are for people to make a living. And we get locked into what we know. But when you start looking at the outdoor industry, like you mentioned, you got call manufacturers, you got decoy makers, you got guys that come up with camo prints. It's all these different facets that you bring awareness to. What's some of the more unique aspects of the Hall of Fame or members that have been in a Hall of Fame that you'd like to mention today?
Well, one of the neatest things about the Hall of Fame itself is I come to realize early on that most of these guys have won all types of accolades, you know, awards for their prints, awards for fishing a tournament, skeet shooting, whatever it might be out in their particular line in the industry. However, it seemed like when they got to the Hall of Fame and got inducted in the Hall of Fame, there was a great acknowledgement there that finally they had reached the point where they understood that it was their peers who was saying thank you to them. And so I knew right away the first year when Roland Martin stood on the stage with tears streaming down his face and thanked everyone there and all the folks that had been with him throughout the years, that we had something great, something a lot bigger than any of us even imagined when we started it.
I heard, speaking of members, I heard Cuz Strickland say, the year that he was inducted, he said, you know, he said, I was wondering about this award when I got the call, and he said, I got on the internet and started looking. He said, when I saw the people, or the members that had been entered into the Hall of Fame, he said, I was just awestruck to know that I was counted in that number. And, you know, that's kind of that's a pretty good impression to make when you come to that understanding that, wow, I have reached the pinnacle.
Right, that's true. You know, and the other thing, too, is what a great day that we all come together and everybody that will be in that room any particular year are all great friends. We may wear different patches on our clothing, we may have different sponsors, but the end result is the industry as a whole is made up by people, and those people all love and care about one another. You know, I'll never forget one year I had Earl Bentz, Mr. Kim Ward with War Eagle Boats, and Mr. Forrest Woods all sitting with their wives at the same table talking about places they'd been together, times that they had shared, and it was just like a family reunion. I mean, these guys in the marketplace are competitors, and you know, they really compete for their share of that market, but together one day they are back to being friends and enjoying, asking about each other's families, and this event is so special. And then the other part of it for me is I'm on stage with all of my heroes each and every year, so it is absolutely a great thing. You know, I may have come up with the idea, but God truly gave it to me, And I've been blessed to get to be on that stage every year for the last 14 years. Be 14 years this upcoming August.
Well, hang on just a minute before we go too far. Let's roll a couple of years. Hey folks, thanks for coming back. That was some great members in those classes there. And who are some of the biggest members you remember the first couple of years?
Well, of course, there's no bigger Hall of Fame member than Brenda Valentine. Brenda is the First Lady of Hunting. She's the national spokesperson for the National Wild Turkey Federation. And ironically, Brenda and I grew up together 4 miles down the road from each other. Brenda and my aunt were great friends in high school, and I was a little 12-year-old kid on the red pony following Brenda and my aunt around at the Saddle Club in Buchanan, Tennessee. So we grew up in a rural community, and I'll never forget one day Brenda and I got to stand on the NWTF's national stage, both of us there, and she looked over at me and she said, "Not too shabby for 2 kids from Buchanan, Tennessee," but we actually inducted Brenda at Paris Land State Park the second year that we held the event, and she had actually been a waitress in her younger days at Paris Land State Park, so that was very special to her and special to all of us. And Brenda has, I mean, there's none better than her. She is just absolutely one of my heroes and a person that I look up to each and every day in the outdoors industry.
And she has a great personality. I have to mention this. I was at a show this past spring, and I looked up and I saw this lady coming down the aisle, and I said, "I know who that is. That's Brenda Valentine." So I jumped out behind my booth and went, "Hey, I got to have a picture with you. Come stand here." So she was kind enough to take a picture with me. So I put that on my Facebook page.
Brenda's never lost her down-home country attitude, and she's a person that has gone all the way from the bottom of the barrel to the top of the food chain, and I'm so proud of her. I call her my sister in the outdoors, and you know, there's others too. I mean, Johnny Morris. Everybody sees Johnny. He has created not only a legacy but a great empire with Bass Pro Shops. But yet, what a kind-hearted man. You know, when we inducted Jerry Martin, I seen Johnny stand on stage with tears rolling down his face. He is so humble and so kind, and loves his friends and his fellow outdoorsmen very, very much. And Johnny has spent a lot of his own personal money to help others in the industry, help people get a start in the television business, and so on and so forth. So, you know, but a lot of great people that have become Hall of Fame members over the years, and most of them would be, any one of them that we mentioned would be worthy of that.
Another thing I've noticed is you go out of your way to mention veterans, to honor veterans every year. Give us some insight on that.
Well, I've had a lot of family members all the way from back in the Civil War that served for our armed forces, and a lot of those folks I've really looked up to. Family members, my brother and sister, both were U.S. Marines. My brother-in-law was 30-year U.S. Marine, and so I really look up to those folks, what they've done for our country, and each year we try to say thanks back to them especially to our wounded veterans. Those folks have laid their life on the line so we can enjoy the great outdoors here in America. We can enjoy the hunting and fishing and all the opportunities, and our kids can enjoy that coming up. So we have to look back and say thanks to all those men and women, because a part of them has been dedicated to our enjoyment and what we get to do here, our heritage really.
Where can people find out information about your organization?
They can go to my website. It's www.legendsoftheoutdoors.com, or they can just Google my name, Gary Mason, 2 R's in the Gary, and it'll bring up Legends of the Outdoors.
Well, all that information will be at the bottom of the screen, but let's look at some more Hall of Fame members at this time. And stay with us, we'll be right back. Hey, thank y'all for coming back and joining us. We're with Gary Mason with Legends of the Outdoors Hall of Fame, and we're going to talk a little bit about Kevin Blake Weldon. He's a good singer, isn't he?
Oh man, I tell you, Kevin's got more talent in his little finger than I got in my whole body. That guy can sing, and you know, Kevin wrote our Legends of the Outdoors theme song, and I think he done it in about 15 minutes one night. I had told him a little bit about what I'd like to have in it, and man, he's just so talented, and to have him come each and every year and perform a few songs at the Hall of Fame, I mean, is well worth the cost of the admission just to get in and hear Kevin. He is absolutely fantastic.
Who's some of your board members that serve with you?
Tommy Garner is our longest serving board member. Tommy is an outdoor writer, a freelance writer from Hardy, Arkansas. He's also had several regional television shows himself. He helped Brenda Valentine write her book about her life, and has also written another book about whitetail deer hunting. So Tommy is quite well regionally known. Other guys include our friend Pat Doyle from here in Nashville, Dan Reeser, who is the host of and producer of the Outdoor Options television show.
That's a great show.
A good friend of mine, Stan Jones. Stan is from over in
Stan Jones Mallard Lodge, right?
Stan Jones Mallard Lodge. I go over and hunt with Stan a couple of times a year, and got a great waterfowling place over there. And Stan is, I think he's got 8,000 acres of flooded rice, and he's got the ducks every year. But other folks that are, of course, Kevin is one of my board members. We've had a couple of board members pass on to go to be with the Lord the last few years, and we miss those guys like Tommy Moody and Leroy Ryer that actually helped me get this started, and we actually honor them as well each and every year. But our board members have been so good to us. They work with nothing but a thank you each year and try to help us toward a common goal of honoring these people in the outdoors industry.
How did you go about the process? What is the selection process like for being recognized as in the Hall of Fame, being accepted in the Hall of Fame?
We have a process where we actually, all of our Hall of Fame members have a nomination right, and then our board of directors, and now we have an executive board, which consists of Hank Parker, Cuz Strickland, Dan Moultrie of Moultrie Outdoors, Terry Denman, Tommy Garner, and a couple of more guys. But we have a selection process where we get nominations from these guys, and then we put those guys up for a vote with our board of directors members, and when they get voted on and they get enough votes, then we contact them and ask them if they could come to the Hall of Fame and receive their nomination and go into the Hall of Fame. The one criteria for the Hall of Fame is you've got to come and be a part of the event in the year that you go in, if you're healthy enough to do so. Occasionally we have someone that's not healthy enough, and we'll maybe induct them over the telephone or something like that. I know Ray Scott and I inducted a gentleman by the name of Butler into the Hall of Fame over the telephone, and that was a lot of fun.
Wow. Another thing I like about the events I've attended is to hear the stories of how these gentlemen got started.
Yeah, my dad used to say it only takes about 45 years to become an overnight success.
That's it.
And a lot of these country music singers in Nashville, Tennessee can tell you the same thing. That,
exactly.
You know, that you just don't wake up one morning and you're Bill Dance or Kevin Van Dam or a lot of these guys. You know, it's years and years and years of passion and trial and error and hard work. You know, for years I've been a professional hunting and fishing guide, and people would say, oh, I'd love to do what you're doing, but they don't see washing out the dog kennels and washing the boats and putting new line on reels and rods and getting all the boats cleaned and the tackle ready and the things that you do, brushing the duck blinds,
right.
Scrubbing decoys, you know. And our family becomes our workforce, you know. You got all your kids and grandkids and stuff out there helping you when you're doing something, but people don't see that. They only see the time on the water or the time in the duck blinds. So.
Right. You know, you talk about that, your kids. It's amazing how oftentimes you get your kids involved in things like that, and that becomes the traditions that they remember. I remember with my own family, you know, things that I got involved in at the time I thought was drudgery, and then years later I'm like, wow, yeah. how special and how awesome that was, you know.
Yeah, you know, when you come on that boat each year and you'll see my wife and my daughter-in-law at the door giving everybody their tickets. My two sons will be in the room helping set up. They'll be running around, and then my grandkids are escorting people to their tables, and it has certainly become a family ordeal for us, and none of them would miss it, you know, for the world. They enjoy being a part of what we're doing, and they understand why we're doing it. And we are creating a legacy. Not only are we saying thanks to these folks that are going in the Hall of Fame, but they're leaving a legacy, and we salute that as well.
And so stay with us. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, folks. Glad you're with us. We're talking with Gary Mason, the legend of the Outdoors Hall of Fame. Gary, tell us about this 2015 class.
Babe Winkelman is going to be here. Denny Breyer, Mike Morgan with Mojo. Mike has been a long-time television producer and produces the Mojo show now. We've got all kinds of folks that's coming. Miss Nina Wood, who is Forrest Wood's wife. Miss Nina has been involved in bass fishing for the ladies for a long, long time. And of course, you know, ironically, it's our wives that are our backbone and the ones that push us to do well. And for us to be the first one to tell you that Ms. Nina has been behind him 100% all the way, you know. And then Paul Alpers. Paul was the CEO and the chairman of Crappie Masters, one of the biggest crappie fishing trails out there. And so these guys are all going to be there. They're coming in. I don't know if you remember Mr. Virgil Ward's television show, but we're going to induct Mr. Virgil posthumously, and his family is going to be there. And so all those folks are going to be there on August the 15th on the General Jackson Showboat, and they're going to be there in celebration of the lives of not only the ones that are going in this year, but those that have gone in before them.
You know, and that's, you mentioned being out on the General Jackson, and you know, seeing the ones that are coming in this year. One of the things that I just can't get over is how many times I walk in that room and there's somebody that I hadn't met before, but I saw them on TV, or I saw them hunting a white-tailed deer, or I've been watching them for years. I'm like, wow. Like last year, getting to meet Tom Miranda.
Yeah.
I was in awe. I was like, wow. Okay, you know, this is cool.
I met Tom Miranda in Chamberlain, South Dakota, in 1992.
Wow.
That's where he was from, and I went up there to guide duck and goose and pheasant hunters for a Thunderstick Lodge, and was walking down the street in a little town about 1,500. Beautiful little town right on the Missouri River, and met Tom, and that's where his studios is at. What a great guy. You know, when you come this year, Hank Parker will be my guest speaker.
Wow.
I think Ray Scott may be there. He's told me he's going to try to come. Harold Knight has told me he's going to try to come. Brenda, of course, we mentioned, will be there. Lots of other celebrities from the outdoors industry. You never know who all's going to be in that room when you walk through the door. And the neat thing about it is you can talk to them just like you and I are sitting here talking. It's like a family reunion, and you can be a part of the whole event. Yeah,
you know, another thing I was impressed about too is being there is seeing how many of the state agencies are there. You know, like the people from the TWRA. Got to see Ed Carter one time.
Yeah, Ed will
from
be there again this
you
year.
know, and so getting to see people that are that live here with us, you know, in the same state, the same city, as well as these national personalities from around the country. They're in this wonderful outdoor industry.
Right. You know, it's a really neat deal, and to bring them to Nashville, Tennessee, which is kind of my second home away from home. I only live 2 hours from here, so I spend a lot of time at Bass Pro Shops out here in Nashville. So this is really a unique event, and it's an event that anyone can have the opportunity to be a part of.
Yeah, you know, and that's great. I would go out to it. I'd bring my kids, I'd bring my wife and get her involved. And, you know, it's just neat to see how the whole thing unfolds, how you have the speaker, and then you honor the vets, and you honor everybody that's there in the industry being inducted, and it's all centered around a dinner and the silent auction, and just so many people there that you just don't run into on a daily basis.
It is a great place to go meet our heroes.
That's
and each and every year I am just amazed at being able to be the one that walks up on that stage and introduces somebody that to everybody else would love to just get their autograph and shake their hand, and I get to introduce them on stage. What a great place that we live in for a little kid from Buchanan, Tennessee that grew up in a 4-room house with a coal stove in the living room and a bathroom 100 yards out back to get to do something like that.
Gary, before we close, tell people where they can get involved with you.
Well, the best way to get involved is to go to my website, legendsoftheoutdoors.com. At the bottom of the front page, you can see my contact information. You can call myself or my office or email me, and we will get right back to you as soon as we can and help you provide the opportunities for others in the great outdoors.
As we close out the show, you mentioned Kevin Blake Weldon. Tell us about this song that he's going to sing.
Kevin is going to sing and perform the Legends of the Outdoors National Hall of Fame song, and to me it's one of the most beautiful songs anybody's ever written, because it truly tells about what goes on behind the scenes for any of us that has been in the outdoors industry for a long time and make our living there, and it is truly a great song.
Well, Gary, thank you for being with us today, and let's let Kevin take us out. Folks, we'll see you next week.
5 a.m. can't come soon enough for folks like these. There's more than just a job to do, so they hit their knees. No, they recognize the need for all they do to provide a better future outdoors for me and you. They're what most folks want to be, but most folks won't ever see all it takes and what goes on behind the scenes. Designing new cars and building boats, outdoor riders and TV hosts, producing shows and stories so the whole world knows about new techniques for catching bass and better reels for smoother cast. They sure take pride in everything they do. There's no challenge that they won't work through. So they tirelessly keep going on. They work their fingers to the bone. Spend way too much time afield and away from home. You can be sure they know what all this hard work is for. So now we honor you as legends, legends of the outdoors. You tirelessly keep going on, work your fingers to the bone. Spend way too much time afield and away from home. You can be sure we know what all your hard work is for. So now we honor you as legends, legends of the outdoors. Yeah, we honor you as legends, legends of the outdoors. Welcome to the place where the legend never dies. You're now legends of the outdoors. You're heroes in our eyes.